We're in a great location today in Clarksville, Tennessee at Beach Haven Winery. So I have a special guest with me today, Louisa Cook, owner of Beach Haven. Louisa, a good friend, and we're glad you're with us.
Thank you for coming. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, we've got a party for 25 years to celebrate.
I know.
Could you believe that you're this old?
No, I can't. You know, I was a mere child when we started it. No gray hair at all, and look at me now.
Yeah, well, and you've come along, the winery's come a long way.
We have had a lot of good luck, and we've made a lot of friends, and we've made some good wine, and we're just really pleased.
And you've got great wine that we're going to cook with
I know,
today.
I'm excited.
So we are going to make a dried pear bacon bread. And we're going to start, Louisa, with some cheese that we just grated and put in this bowl. And that's 1.5 cups. And then I'm going to get you to be my stirrer today. So you go ahead and add the bacon bits that are already fried and crumbled, and that's 5 slices of bacon, and keeping my husband out of that was nearly impossible. It took all of my womanly charms.
We're going to cook a little extra.
Yeah, I know, I should have. And then we're going to add some chopped walnuts to that, and that's 1/3 cup. And I toasted those in the oven at about 350, just until you smell them. And that's kind of nice, because the perfect part about that is it adds a little extra flavor to the recipe. We've got 1 3/4 cup all-purpose flour. And we're going to add to that some baking powder, 1 tablespoon, that's our leavener. We're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And I'm just going to mix all this up together, and then we're going to add it to that cheese mixture. And Louisa, I want you to stir this well, because what we want to do is coat all of those cheese strands with flour, so that in the recipe, when you get ready to bake it, you've kind of coated them a little bit, and so they're not all clumping together when it bakes. So this is a good trick if you're adding any kind of cheese to any kind of quick bread. If you'll just coat it with the flour, that goes a long way to keep it from clumping. Okay, now the secret ingredient to this, Louisa, are these dried pears. So what I've done is I just dried these pears in my dehydrator, and I chopped them up. And the easiest way to do that is with your kitchen shears. Just cut them up just a little bit. And you'll notice that I've got them soaking in this wine. So Louisa, let's talk about what the wine that we're using here, because we're using one of your new bottles of wine. We're using your Sauvignon Blanc. So tell us a little bit about this wine.
Well, Sauvignon Blanc is a wonderful wine for a recipe like this. It's light. It's kind of it kind of smells like a newly mowed lawn. It reminds you of spring and summer. And it's fruity. It's a little bit lemony as well.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to taste it in this bread.
And what we're doing is we are simply rehydrating the pears. So all the moisture we took out of it in the dehydrator, we're putting it back in, but we're putting it in the form of wine.
I love it.
So it's going to really intensify the flavor of these pears. And put them, and when you rehydrate fruit, put it in a shallow dish like this, rather than a tall, skinny one, so they can soak up all the yummy goodness of the wine. Okay? All right, so we're gonna just set that there for a second, let that soak just a little bit more. Then we're gonna add some more to your dish here. I've got 3 eggs that I'm just gonna lightly beat. And then we're gonna add to this our sage that we've chopped, and this is sage from my garden. So this is really, really fresh. So we're just going to add just a few slivers of that. If you don't like sage, you can add parsley to this.
But this is what we're looking at over there, right?
That's
You've got
right.
the fresh sage with you.
That's right. I brought it with me, and we're just going to add that to it. Then we're going to mix this up, and we're going to add 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. Keep whisking. Keep whisking. And then we're going to add 1/2 cup of milk. And it doesn't matter if it's whole milk, 2%, whatever. The reason we're doing this separately is because our leavening starts to be activated as soon as it gets wet. So I'm going to add this to it, and I want you to just stir really well.
As you're doing it?
That's right. If you can, I might be in your way.
Okay.
And you just stir that up. And baking powder, the reason it's called double action is it starts to work first when it gets wet, and the second time when it gets hot. So when it gets in the oven, it'll do that as well. So what I'm going to add to that while you're stirring are our pears. And you'll notice that it's just about soaked up all of the wine. See how it's pulled out all that?
Right.
And you can either pull that out and save the extra wine, or you can just put the whole thing in there. I'm going to put the whole thing in there.
Good.
Yeah. That's the best way.
sentiments exactly.
So we're just going to mix all of that up. And I'll tell you, Louisa, your wine would also be a great thing to serve with this bread as well, because you would kind of pick up on that flavor that we've already put into the pears. So so this goes into a 350-degree oven for 55 minutes, and then you're going to make sure you test it with a pick to make sure it's completely clean when you pull it out. Then let it cool in the pan 10 minutes before you pull it out, and let it cool completely on a wire rack. And then what we're going to do is serve this with your Sauvignon Blanc, and I would just serve it with a green salad.
Right, for brunch,
and
maybe?
it would be perfect for that. And Louisa, it's a great way to celebrate 25 years of Beach Haven.
I can't wait.
So Louisa, what would your dad think of all of this growth?
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine, except that he would love it. He would love it. You know, he probably wouldn't have agreed with all the steps we've made along the way, but I think he would love the outcome.
Absolutely, and one of the pioneers of our industry, I might add. So we certainly need to toast him, don't we?
We do, we really do. You know, one of the things he would love the most, I think, is the mechanization that we've been able to do, because we used to have to do everything by hand 25 years ago, and now life is easier because we don't have to do all that, and he would really appreciate the fact that we've been able to grow and mechanize and still make wonderful hands-on wine.
And Louisa, tell me about growing the grapes, because that's part of the winery as well.
Well, it is. We only have 3 acres here at the winery, but we have other acreage too. And it's just wonderful, because a lot of the wine work is hectic and frantic, but when you're out in the vineyard, it's peaceful, it's quiet. You can hear yourself think, you can hear the grapes grow. It's just a really great experience. And then when it's harvest time and your fruits of your labor are coming in, it's just you're proud that it's worked out.
Feel-good experience. Yes. And it's evidenced in your wines, by the way, that are wonderful.
Thank you. We've really changed our product line a lot over the 25 years, but I'll have to say that we have one wine that we have made and kept on making the entire time, and that's our Golden Rose. It has been a perennial favorite for 25 years.
So that was one of the first wines, and it continues.
It was, and it's still extremely popular.
So for this recipe, just go online. It's the dried pear and bacon bread, and you're in for a treat. Serve it with Sauvignon Blanc Beach Haven wine.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.